This is an iHeart podcast.
Wells Fargo is proud of the important role they play for their customers, their communities, and the U.S. economy, covering more rural markets than many large banks and nearly 30% of branches in low or moderate income census tracts. Also proudly serving more than 10% of small businesses nationwide. Wells Fargo, the bank of doing. Learn more at wellsfargo.com/say-do. Wells Fargo Bank N.A., member FDIC.
Taking over the helm of NBC Nightly News, a 75-year-old broadcast, it's a great responsibility.
Good evening, I'm Tom Yamas.
You have to go out there to bring people at home closer to the story.
Wildfires continue to be a threat.
With that massive hurricane comes the massive response.
The best reporters in our business know how to listen. And when you listen, you get the truth.
For NBC News.
NBC News.
I'm Tom Yamas.
That's what we do every night.
NBC Nightly News with Tom Yamas. Evenings on NBC.
Hello. From Wonder Media Network, I'm Jenny Kaplan, and this is Womanica. This month we're talking about outsiders, women who marched to the beat of their own drum and rejected stereotypes about what women should be. They're aesthetic pioneers, norm benders, and often some of the only women in their field. In the fall of 1933, Spanish women voted for the first time, cementing their active presence in the nation's democracy. The path to secure this right, of course, was not easy. The early story of women's suffrage in Spain has a pioneering protagonist at its center. Meet Clara Campoamor. Clara was born in Madrid on February 12, 1888. Her father was an accountant and her mother a seamstress. Her childhood was marked by her father's death, and from a young age, Clara worked as a dressmaker and a shop clerk to support her family financially. These responsibilities didn't stop her from carving out a professional path for herself. In 1909, at the age of 21, Clara obtained a civil servant position in the Postal and Telegraph Corps. 5 years later, she placed first in a competition through the Ministry of Public Education, which allowed her to join a group of specialist shorthand and typing instructors at a school for adults. It was around this time that Clara began writing for newspapers like Nuevo Heraldo, El Sol, and El Tiempo. During the 1917 Spanish General Strike, which called for political revolution amid socioeconomic instability, Clara developed an interest in politics. She grew tired of the male dominance in Spain's governing bodies and the entrenched notion of women's inferiority. She couldn't sit back and let this persist, but she felt that in order to champion wide-scale change, she'd need to return to her studies. Over the course of 4 years, she finished both her high school degree and earned a law degree. At the age of 36, Clara was among the first women to practice law in Spain. In April of 1931, Spain saw the advent of the Second Republic. Clara felt this was an opportunity to bring her legal expertise to the emerging political sphere. She fought against the lack of legal standing for women in the laws of the time, particularly for married women who, through marriage, had many of their rights limited. In this pursuit, Clara became the first woman to argue a case concerning the legal status of women before the Spanish Supreme Court. That same year, in 1931, Clara was approached by Alejandro Lerroux, the leader of the Radical Republican Party, and offered candidacy for that year's Constituent Court elections. In an election where women could run for a position but could not vote, 2 women were elected, Clara and Victoria Kent of the Radical Socialist Party. The 2 of them worked on a committee dedicated to constructing Spain's constitution. Both Clara and Victoria championed women's suffrage, but had different visions on how to get there. Clara felt that women's right to vote should be an immediate priority. Victoria and other party members sought to postpone the decision, believing that such a move would ostracize less progressive citizens from the party and create distrust. This divide came to a head during a fierce debate on the parliament floor. Clara doubled down on the imminent need for this right, stating that not acting now would be a profound political error. In the end, women's suffrage prevailed, 161 votes in favor, compared to 121 votes against. The 1931 Constitution of Spain therefore recognized a woman's right to vote. Clara also used her parliamentary status to advocate for the regulation of divorce, legal status of children born out of wedlock, and reforms of the penal code. But her political convictions would come at a cost to her career. In the 1933 elections, women were able to vote for the first time, but Clara failed to gain sufficient support and was not reappointed. She remained in the Leroux's administration, but soon left her post. In 1936, she sought favor with the Republican left, but was unpopular within the party. Shortly after, she penned 2 books, Women's Suffrage and Me, My Mortal Sin, and The Spanish Revolution as Seen by a Republican Woman, which detail her suffragist struggle, recount her experience of the revolution, and speak to feelings of political isolation. When the Spanish Civil War broke out, Clara was banned from Spain by the nationalist Franco regime on account of her divisive political history and Republican allegiance. Clara fled and went into exile. She sought refuge in Geneva and Buenos Aires before settling in Lausanne, Switzerland. Lausanne became her final residence, where she lived with cancer and other health complications. On April 30th, 1972, Clara died. The pioneering work that made Clara such a polarizing figure in her time has earned her respect and admiration today. Perhaps Clara knew that that was the reality of being a trailblazer. As she once said, "I knew that time would justify all my arguments." All month we're talking about outsiders. For more information, find us on Facebook and Instagram at Womanica Podcast. Special thanks to Liz Kaplan, my favorite sister and co-creator. Talk to you tomorrow.
Are there any pictures of you online? Then you could already be in a massive police database without even knowing it.
Clearview scrapes together images from Facebook, from LinkedIn, from Venmo accounts.
I'm Dexter Thomas, host of Kill Switch, a podcast about how living in the future is affecting us right now.
Police, they are trusting this software with this magical ability to lead them to the right suspect.
In this episode, we dive into how cops are using AI and facial recognition and sometimes getting it wrong and putting innocent people behind bars.
So if your accuser is this algorithm, but you're not even being told that it was used, let alone given any of the details about how it works.
Listen to Kill Switch on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
High Key. Looking for your next obsession?
Listen to High Key, a new weekly podcast hosted by
Ben O'Keefe,
Ryan Mitchell, and Evie Oddly.
We got a lot of things to get into. We're going to gush about the random stuff we can't stop thinking about. I am high-key going to lose my mind over all things Cowboy Carter.
I know.
Girl, the way she about to yank my bank account.
Correct. And one thing I really love about this is that she's celebrating her daughters.
Oh, I know.
Listen to High Key on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
This is an iHeart podcast.